Okay, let's address a very important and interesting development in the markets today. The promoter holding in IIFL Finance managed to cross 25%. And then there was a notification in the exchanges that SEBI rules say compulsory open offer of 25% stake has been crossed. Then you had Nirmal Jain come out and actually change his holding as well. And I'm going to read out the exact quantum as well for you. I don't want to get this one wrong. Promoter Nirmal Jain actually bought an additional 0.12% stake in the company. Also, the company handed out a clarification which was a little bit confusing. So let's take it across to Nirmal Jain and hear it from the horse's mouth himself. Nirmal, hi, good afternoon. Can you hear me clearly?
I can hear you. Hello?
Okay, very well. Nirmal, the feedback that were great. I was just going through the clarification that you've handed out to the exchanges. Now, correct me where I'm going wrong here, because earlier the release showed that promoter holding has crossed 25%, and now you're saying it's not exceeded. The keyword being used here is voting rights. So help me understand what really is the rationale behind, your promoter holding now.
Okay. So we have filed a revised filing today. So there was a technical error in yesterday's filing. Out of the promoter holding shares that I have purchased, 2.5 lakh shares are supposed to be inter-say transfer in the promoter group entities. So that has been missed out. So that has been corrected today. Now, so the correct holding and the voting rights are 24.99%. And so at no point in time, that's what we clarified. And I think the revised filing has also been done on the exchanges there on NSE and BSE website. Hello.
Right. Nirmal, hi, thanks a lot for coming on our channel and chatting with us about it, because this issue, ever since the first filing came yesterday evening, that additional 4 lakh shares have been acquired 0.12% by you in IIFL, along with the other clarifications which have come in, have made the market very excited about it. At one point in time, your stock, IIFL Finance, was locked on circuit and triggering, big moves in other group stocks also. So, sure, I understand that the latest clarification by you on the exchange says that you have not taken delivery. But till yesterday, did it happen that 4 lakh extra shares got bought into the company from your side? Has it happened or not?
So 4,54,000 shares are purchased by me. And out of the 2,50,000 shares are sold by a promoter group entity called Ardent. So the net effect is that the shareholding of the promoter group has gone up to 24.99. I individually don't have 25% shareholding. So it's me, Venkat, and promoter group entities put together. And as I said, that the 2,50,000 interstate transfer is missed out, and therefore the calculations have they're not correct. But the fact that I purchased shares is correct. So I bought 4,54,000 shares yesterday, which is 0.12%. But promoter group in total the shareholding will not increase to 25.12, but will go to 24.99.
Okay, that's the point. So yesterday, perhaps the selling of the promoter group of 2 lakh odd was perhaps not reported, and the street picked up the gross number of 4.54 lakh.
Absolutely. So this.
Okay, great. So now, of course, it all falls in place. But my
Yeah, hello.
I'm sure working from home has its pitfalls a bit. I understand that. But, there were also some very big... so this is a good clarification that obviously open offer will not happen from... though I'm still not sure whether legally netting off is allowed or not. I'll get a legal opinion on that later on. But the market is also taking notice of big exits which have happened. Sumit Bali has resigned. The treasurer of the company, Mr. Amarnath, has also resigned. You're the chairman. You've taken over as the CEO's role. It has happened quite suddenly. Would you like to share some thoughts on that? What triggered that and what's happening from here on?
So, Sumit Bali has resigned. I mean, that has happened in last week. And he's a professor and he has got a better opportunity. So I think it must be in public domain now that he's joining Axis Bank as head of retail assets. Amarnath has a personal emergency because his wife and children, they live in Australia, and because of this COVID crisis, he had to rush to Australia. So he's flown to so he's not in India now. He's gone to Australia. So it's very exceptional family and personal circumstances. So And Sumit Bali, and also I think that that incident, that event has happened, which has been reported. And I have taken over as CEO. I've been involved with the company right from beginning. So, from day one. So there's nobody other than me who will have more experience than me in running or understanding the business. And also we have very good, very capable people as heads of all our businesses, all our support functions, and I have excellent rapport with them. Many of them have been recruited by me, and all of them have been interacting with me. And I've been executive chairman, so it's not that that I'm an owner who has been away from the company. It's very natural and logical for me to take over I've been part of running the company, so I'm taking charge of it now.
Right. There is also, Nirmal, there's also a discussion in the market. What has the SEBI has actually, a promoter can participate in preferential shares up to 10% and increase the shareholding. Are you considering that you have come quite close to 25%, 24.99 at some point in time? Would you like to infuse money into the company and also at the same time raise stake?
So I'm a first generation professional entrepreneur. So the money that I'll have is maybe more or less what I get by way of dividend. And unfortunately, what has happened before the merger, the promoter stake was more than 25%. And then we could have done the creeping acquisition of 5%. But now the way rules are, unless we seek clarification from SEBI and get some clarity on this, that if you're above 25%, then you can do a creeping acquisition of 5%. But if you're at 24.99, then you're stuck there because you can't cross the threshold of 25 without making an open offer. So we would have been, if there's a creeping acquisition allowed, we would have been happy. But unfortunately, it looks like that, there's no clarity in the current regulation whether if the stake is at 24.99, whether you can do creeping acquisition.
Right. All right, Nirmal. Thanks for explaining all of that and clearing the air. It was a technical error. Work from home perhaps to be blamed. 2 lakh shares over-reporting happened, and that gave an impression that the threshold of 25% is actually crossed. Actually, if you net off the other promoter groups 2 lakh crore odd selling, then the number is coming at 24.99. But quite a big move. The street still is, the circuit is still intact on that one. Thanks a lot for clarifying that, Nirmal. But Nirmal, before we let you go, a quick view on the way markets are. Since we have you, let me take a liberty of at least one question on how are you analyzing the market. We are told that at IIFL there has been a record addition of retail accounts. How are things looking?
Things are actually, it's very interesting. There's something which is counterintuitive. What we have seen in last few months, a number of new investors and traders are coming, they're opening account or they're reactivating their old account which they were not active in. So that is one side of the story. But as far as markets are concerned, I think markets are looking beyond COVID-19. They have seen that in many other countries, wherever recovery has been very quick. Even within India, other than Bombay and Delhi, most of the towns and cities are up and running. And so there are some sectors that will be very badly impacted, like aviation, maybe hotel and malls. But other than the rest of the economy can chug along. And the liquidity is very benign world over, and interest rates are low. So money has to flow to equities. And which is not only domestic savings as well as global. Today, if you go for a bank fixed deposit less than 2 years, you can't even get 5% return, which net of tax will become even lesser, 3% or so. So obviously, people are pulled towards equity because there's no alternative. Having said this, although there are many analysts and many market observers, they are worried about the near-term fundamentals. But I think market is looking at FY22 and maybe FY23 and trying to discount those earnings. And from that perspective, I think there may be minor corrections, but the underlying undertone of the market is very strong. Hello.
All right, Nirmal, I'll let you go on that one. Thanks so much for joining us.